Hello and welcome to another episode of Healing with Nama. I am Casey and today I'm going to be talking about overcoming the fear of success. So I hope you guys are having a good day. Recording this on a Monday. I'm excited about the week and just staying motivated to get through the week because sometimes Mondays are hard for people. So I hope that you're staying encouraged. By the time you hear this, it'll be Wednesday, but I hope that you're staying encouraged this week and just making it through the day. So let's talk about overcoming the fear of success. So this idea came to me because last week I had that kind of fear come up. I know that it's something that I already experienced, but it just hit me really hard last week. And so I wanted to talk about it and just share my experience and share some ways that we can overcome it, because I know that I'm not the only person that experiences this, and it can be really helpful to have somebody else just share that they're going through it too, so that you know that you're not alone. So for me, when I started experiencing it, it was because I got overwhelmed by things going well. So, things with the podcast were going pretty good. I was, getting people to, be on the show and getting these great ideas for concepts, and, with my brand and different things were going well, and it got a little bit scary. So I started worrying about everything that could go wrong or right. Like things could go really well. And that made me worried about being able to maintain the momentum, like keeping up the success, and like, how do I follow up with this, good thing, or this good thing? How do I keep people interested and engaged in what I'm doing? And I only envisioned things going really well, and that was scary for me to like think about this venture that I've jumped into going well and like succeeding and nothing bad coming of it is a little bit scary. I know it kind of sounds backwards, but I know that a lot of people have this experience. It's really common. So I wanted to just expand on it. So for me, the thought of leveling up was scary because it's unknown. So like I could feel just, in spiritually and all that stuff, alignment, I'm like leveling up to a new, like a higher, whatever you want to call it, ascension, whatever. I'm like going up to the next tier, and it's like, I don't know what's up there. So it's a little bit scary because I already know down here, or here where I already am, I already know what to expect for the most part. I already know what my life looks like, and so to go to a new phase of my life is scary because I don't know what that looks like. And honestly, I don't have a lot of people around me who are doing what I'm trying to do, and so I don't really know what that life looks like. So it's scary for me. Like, I can do my current job, my current career in my sleep because I've been doing it for years. But I don't know a lot of entrepreneurs. I don't know a lot of people who are starting their own business, or, at a higher level like that, if you want to call it a higher level. So I'm just kind of learning as I go and taking tips from people that I see online, trying to connect with other people to get some inspiration. But for the most part, in my, my personal life, I don't know a lot of people who are doing this. So it can be scary because it's like I'm forging a new path, if you will. And when I notice all those thoughts coming, I notice this thing that I tend to do when I get overwhelmed is I want to shrink. Like, I just want to hide. I want to stop doing everything. I want to stop moving forward. Like, I just want to curl up in a ball and put a blanket over me because it's too much happening. And I noticed that feeling coming over me. So I'm glad that it came and it went so quickly, because this was only, I guess, maybe 2-3 days where I had this whole, just experience of just really like shutting down, and noticed what was happening and was able to kind of shake it off a little bit. but I know that I have the tendency to want to run when things are overwhelming, whether that be good or bad. I just want to run away because it's too scary. So the thing that I really took away from this time was that I was thankful that I was able to recognize what was happening so quickly so that I could verbalize it, and then I could, work with myself about like, oh, I see what's happening. You're getting nervous, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're starting to shut down. Like, we need to talk to somebody about this, and also be proactive about like fighting it or combating it, and not going down that path of just running away because something is too much. So some of the reasons why we would fear success is because we're afraid we'll have to leave our old life behind. So like our family and our friends and our old habits. I know that's true for me, like I feel like this new venture will cause me to be a new person and maybe, have new friends, and have to stop doing this or stop doing that. Or maybe, I have to not hang out with my old friends anymore because they're not, doing the same thing that I'm doing. And you have to remember that that's not necessarily true. You may have to leave some old things behind, but not everything in your life is going to completely drastically change. For some people it might, and for some people you still will be able to hold on to some of your old life. It's just some things that are no longer serving you are not going to be able to go with you to the next level. It's not going to be helpful for you to hold on to old stuff just because, you're just holding on to it just because it's familiar. Sometimes you are going to have to let go of some things and some people. But not everything in your life, will change. You will still have some of the same friends. You will still have some of, your same family, your habits. Those things are not always going to have to go. It's just the things that are no longer helping you, the people that are no longer helping you, or maybe are hindering you, will not be able to go with you. And one thing I kind of say a lot is like, when we're talking about like friends or family or habits, it's like, it's not hurting you, but is it helping you? So sometimes things have to go, even though it doesn't seem like it's a big deal. Like, it's not hurting me. That person's not doing anything bad. There's nothing wrong with the friendship, whatever the case may be. But are they helping you? Are they helping you reach the goals that you have? Are they helping you feel better about yourself? Are they helping you by inspiring you by what they're doing, Or is it just kind of, we're just friends because we've been friends for so long? You know what I mean? Like, so you have to kind of think about that sometimes. Like, no, the person may not be hurting you. The friendship may not be hurting you, but is it helping you? And sometimes we have to look at it that way. Not in every relationship, sometimes it's okay to just, some people may not be moving in the same direction as you, but they are truly supportive of you and moving you forward and, sharing your stuff and rooting you on, like, and then, you can decide whether or not you want to keep them around, or, it's all going to be up to you and how you feel about that certain relationship and that person and how they're showing up for you. But at the end of the day, just know that not everybody is going to have to go, but you will have to assess when you're, leveling up. Okay, am I going to be able to take this person with me? Am I dragging them along, or are they willingly, going with me? So you'll have to make that choice for yourself when the time comes. Nobody can really tell you like, hey, you have to do this or that. I don't really agree with people telling you that you have to get rid of, your old friends or your old this or that, like, because I don't personally know what you're going through. So I can't tell you, yeah, you have to do X, Y, and Z, but be mindful that not everybody that you are with and not everything that you do right now is going to be able to go with you when you go to the next phase of your life. That's just kind of how it is. That's why, people say people are in your life for a reason and a season. Sometimes it's not anything bad. There's no bad blood. It's just our season is over and it's time for us to move on. Okay, so back to why we would fear success. there's also imposter syndrome. And if you listen to last week's episode, you know a little bit more about imposter syndrome. That's basically just feeling inadequate or incapable of doing what you're doing or what you want to be doing. So, and this is especially true, say, for instance, if you are, a person of color in a predominantly white job or field, or planning to go into that field, it can be daunting because now you're feeling like, am I supposed to be here? Am I worthy of being here? Is it okay for me to take up space? Are they talking about me? All those types of things come up. And even though you know that you're qualified to do this thing, it may be scary to move up when, if nobody around you, like in your immediate circle, has done that thing, it can be scary to have the confidence to know that you can do it, basically. So imposter syndrome is another reason why we might fear success, is because we don't feel like we have what it takes to be successful. Even though we do, we just don't believe it. There's also the fear of criticism. So fearing that the more, seen you are, the more susceptible you are to people criticizing you and telling you, this, that, or the other. And that's very true for me, because I'm doing something where I'm kind of publicizing myself and putting myself out there. And I do have those fears of trolls and internet people saying this or that about me. But at the moment, I just remind myself that that's not why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I can't let that stop me from doing what I feel I'm meant to do. And that goes along with the fear of attention. So that's also an experience for me, because I don't really like attention. I don't really like, being the center of attention or the life of the party or whatever. And being a social influencer, I do have attention on me. I am putting myself in a position to have attention on me, or to want to gain attention, because I'm trying to get people interested in what I'm doing. But it is scary, because then you open yourself up to possibly being criticized. So, like I said, the fear of the fear of success shows up for us as self-sabotage. So when you notice these good things happening, or you notice yourself feeling scared of success, you may not follow up with, something like, maybe you had a really good lead on, this person or this job that you wanted to connect with to help you get to the next level. But you're just like, I'm not going to call them. I'm going to put that card, to the side, and I'll call them eventually. Because you're scared of, if you call them, then it's like, okay, I have to follow through. They're going to help me get to where I need to go, and I know it's going to go well. So let me not call them, because I want to just stay, here. I want to stay kind of small. I'm worried about that. That's also like for applying for jobs. So maybe you feel like you are ready to level up to a new position at your job or at a different job. It's going to pay you more, but you're scared, so you just don't apply. Like maybe it pops up, or somebody sends you a job application for this awesome job, and they're like, man, you would be so great for this. And in your mind, you would be really good at it, but you also know that means doing a new position, having new responsibilities, maybe being around new people, so it's scary. So instead of following up or applying for those jobs, you just kind of don't. And that is self-sabotage. So that is how a fear of success can show up for you. So be mindful of when you are self-sabotaging and not allowing yourself to grow. The other thing is doing the bare minimum. So you're just kind of doing enough to get the job done, but you're not really doing your full potential of what you could be doing or what that could look like for you, because you're scared of what that next level looks like. And then there's also, like they call it, goal addiction. So every time you achieve a goal or you make a goal, you just make a new one. And it's not necessarily like an upward movement. Maybe you're just doing like laterally moving the goals. Like, oh, okay, I finished that. Now let me do this. Like, this is never good enough. Almost like perfectionism. And that's another way of self-sabotaging, because you are telling yourself that what you're doing isn't good enough. And you're just constantly chasing after this goal. and you're not really making progress because, you know, your goals might be lateral instead of like moving up to the next level, you know. So if you are constantly making yourself run after different goals, every time you achieve one, it's like, okay, that wasn't enough. I need to do more. I need to do more. That's kind of self-sabotaging because you're not allowing yourself to just enjoy achieving a goal, you know, enjoy that and letting people see that and all that kind of stuff, you know. If you're constantly telling yourself that you're not good enough, then you're keeping yourself from, I guess, enjoying doing what you're doing. And then also you're kind of keeping yourself from allowing people to compliment you, because sometimes when we are like moving our goals, we may not be sharing that with other people. And so people are not seeing how much progress we're actually making because we're constantly telling ourselves that it's not good enough. We have to do more, like, let's move that goal over here, or, you know, that kind of thing. So I hope that makes sense. I feel like I'm not making sense, but I hope that you understand what I'm trying to say about, you know, constantly achieving goals and never thinking that what you've done is good enough. So how we can overcome the fear of success is by getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. So there are going to be a lot of times in life where you have to do things that you're not used to doing or that don't feel good, but that are going to be necessary for you to move up in life or like do something new. This could go for anything. This could be in career, this could be in love or whatever. If you're deciding to be a parent or get married, there's always going to be a new phase of life that you haven't done before, and you're going to have to get uncomfortable, and you're going to have to be comfortable with that. You're going to have to be okay with not knowing what comes next, and you're going to have to be uncomfortable for a little bit, but then, you know, as time goes on, it's not going to be so bad. And I had to remind myself of that too. Like, I reminded myself that the only way that it's not going to be unknown anymore is if I keep doing it. So you have to be okay with just not knowing everything that's going to happen or how things are going to unfold. You have to just do it anyway. Do it scared, because that's the only way that you're going to learn new skills, new everything, new stuff like that. The only way that something isn't going to be new anymore is if you do it and you just keep doing it. Even if you mess up, even if it doesn't go the way you thought it was going to go, you tried, and that's the most important thing. So if you took a new position, a new job or something like that, and, you know, you ended up not liking it, or maybe you kind of, things didn't go the way that you planned, at least you tried, and now you know what to expect if you decide to try it again. Or maybe you are still in that position, you made a mistake, but now you know for the next time, okay, don't do that thing. This is a better way to handle it. So hopefully you have people around you who are nurturing you and supporting you and making you feel good about trying that new thing. But it's really important that you feel that within yourself. You know, people can encourage you and tell you how great you are, but you really have to be able to believe that within your own mind, because otherwise when people tell you, you're not going to believe them. So you don't want to always be relying on external validation. You want to be able to know in your mind that you can do this job. You can be a parent. You can, whatever it is, you can do it. You may mess up. It might be scary. There are going to be times where you don't know what you're doing. But the only way that you're going to learn is if you keep going. You also need to get clear on your negative beliefs and where they come from. So if you have negative beliefs about, you know, I'm not confident, or I'm not capable of doing this job, or I'm not good at math, so I wouldn't be good at doing this job because there's a little bit of numbers, or even small things, you know, small things that we tell ourselves that a reason why something is going to go wrong. Get clear on what thoughts that you're thinking. So when you're having those thoughts, even writing them down, just getting clear on what negative thoughts you have and then why you have them. Where did those come from? Like, who told you that? What makes you believe that these things are true? And then how can we combat that? Like, how can we show ourselves that it's not true? Or that, it's not going to be so bad? Because sometimes, our negative thinking is correct, but that doesn't mean it's a reflection of us and our ability to do things. Just because, maybe you're not very strong at this thing or that thing, that doesn't mean that you can never learn how to do it. That doesn't mean that you're just terrible at it and you should never try again. It just means that maybe this is a strength an area that you can strengthen. So maybe that means taking a class. Maybe that means working with somebody else. There's always a way to figure it out. And then at the end of the day, if it still doesn't work, then maybe it's just something that you move on from. But it's always important to get clear on what negative stories you're telling yourself, so that when those things come up, you can stop yourself in your tracks and be like, okay, let me tell myself a different story, because right now I'm telling myself that I can't do this, that it's going to go badly, everything's going to fall apart, and that may not be true. So let me just sit with this and get clear on where this is coming from, and then really work with myself on, not doing this to myself. Or talking to somebody and telling them how you're feeling, so that they can remind you of why those things are not true, or why those things shouldn't stop you from moving forward. Another thing to help you overcome the fear of success is to cut off negativity. Now, this doesn't mean I'm just positive all the time, nothing bad ever happens. Like, that's not realistic. But cutting off negativity in the sense of like negative people. So people who are constantly telling you that you can't do something, or it's going to be too hard, or are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you don't know how to do that? You've never done that before. Those types of things. So you may not have to necessarily just completely cut them off, but maybe you stop talking to them about this new thing that you're doing if they're constantly giving you negative feedback, because it's not helping you build your confidence. So when I say cut off negative people, I don't mean just completely stop talking to them, unless that's what the situation needs. I mean, cut them off that part of your life, or stop talking to them about that situation, because they're not helping you to build your confidence. So people who like to stay negative, or who like to complain all the time, are not going to help you build confidence in yourself. They're not going to help you release that fear of success and that fear of growing, because they're scared of growing and they're perpetuating that onto you. So it's kind of amplifying the way you already feel. So you want to look for people who are going to encourage you, or help you to problem solve, who are doing that in their own lives, so that they can help you to move forward. Because people who are negative and complaining about their own lives probably aren't going to be the most helpful for you when you have an issue. So that's something to think about. How people are responding to the things that you're telling them, and whether or not that's something that you want to keep sharing with them. But that will be your choice. Another thing that we say in my line of work is focus on the process versus the product. So focus on the journey, focus on, all the things that you kind of have to do to reach the goal, instead of the goal itself, instead of achieving the goal and reaching the goal, because that can be overwhelming sometimes. It's like, I gotta, get to 50,000 followers. I have to do, I have to post every single day. I have to whatever. Like, no, just take small steps and look at the little picture instead of the big picture. Like, okay, here I am today. What can I do today to kind of move me forward? What can I do to get me closer to this goal? Some days you may not hit the mark, you may miss the mark, but keep going anyway. But the biggest thing is to not overwhelm yourself with this huge, expansive goal that you're trying to reach, because it's overwhelming. It's like, oh my gosh, like, this is something new. I don't know if I can do this. It's too many parts. There's too many steps to get to it. Blah, 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 blah. Like, just focus on one thing at a time. One thing that you can do. So if you're applying for a new job that you haven't done before, but you know that you're qualified for, maybe just working on your resume a little bit, or having somebody look over your resume, practicing your interview technique with someone, something small to help you build that confidence, so that when you do decide to apply for that job, you already are going in there ready to take it over, ready to be confident, ready to do the best that you can do, and to be confident and know that as long as you did the best that you can do, that's all you can do. Even if you don't get the job, even if, things don't work out the way that you wanted to, the point is to try. The point is to build your confidence, so that the next time an opportunity presents itself, it's not going to be so daunting or overwhelming. You'll be able to just say, hey, I did this the last time. I'm already kind of familiar with this, so now it's not as bad. Let me, practice a different skill or something like that. You just never know. So you don't ever want to let fear stop you from doing something. Now, this is like, talking about jobs and goals and stuff like that, or, relationships. Sometimes fear is a good thing, and you have to kind of be able to decide that for yourself. But in most cases, you don't want to let fear stop you from becoming who you are meant to be, or who you would like to be. Because something that somebody told me, and I forget who it was people are waiting for you. When I was, expressing my fear about doing this work, doing the podcast, building up my business, becoming this person that I know that I'm meant to become, the person said, people are waiting for you. So if you don't take that risk, if you don't apply for that job, if you don't do, this X, Y, or Z, you don't know who is missing out. People are waiting for you to show up. So do the best that you can do to get yourself prepared and confident and ready to make it to that next level, because somebody is waiting for you. People need you. You're necessary. Even if you think, a million people are doing that already, somebody else could do that job better. It's like, maybe not. Maybe you're exactly what that company needs. Maybe you're exactly what that person needs. Maybe you're exactly what the world needs. I know that sounds a little dramatic, but it's true. Maybe you just don't know where you're meant to be and who you're meant to help. So don't let your fear or your lack of confidence stop you from doing really great things, especially if you know in your mind and it feels right and you're moving in the right direction and you don't see anything really negative happening. That's when you really need to move forward. That's when you really need to step it up, and don't be afraid, because that's where you're meant to be. And sometimes it's that, if something is really scaring you because it's a challenge, then that's where you're meant to be, because it's scaring you for a reason. It's trying to build you and trying to grow you and make you into this new, beautiful person that you're meant to be. So just don't let fear of success stop you from becoming that person, because you just never know who you're meant to help by helping yourself. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. I hope that I was clear and you guys got a lot out of that episode. If you are overcoming the fear of success, or you're leveling up, share with me. Share with me on my Instagram or on my TikTok. Tell me about your story, what's going on for you. I'd love to hear about that. And just build a community, because sometimes people need to hear that they're not alone and other people are experiencing the same thing, and it makes them feel good. And then if you have a way that you've overcome it, that could really help someone else. So just think about that. All right, so that wraps up this episode of Healing with Nama. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking with you guys. I really love doing this podcast, and so that's one thing that I do keep in mind when I do get scared and I fear things going well, is that I'm happy doing this. So even if it doesn't blow up to be whatever, I'm enjoying myself, and that's the most important thing to me. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. I'm really excited about next week's episode, but you'll have to tune in to see what it is. So I'll see you guys next week. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Just wanted to let you know I now have an ebook. My ebook is called Journey to Wellness, and you can find the link on my Linktree, which is in my Instagram bio and also in the show notes. This book is very special to me. It's my first ebook. I've worked really hard on it. And if you are looking to learn more about journaling, meditation, affirmations, and healing crystals, this is the book for you. There's also a special little surprise in there that you can find. So don't forget to download the ebook and keep your eyes peeled for more good things to come. See you guys next time.